Hey, shalom, shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all the glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakak Quadash. Double honors unto my apostles and others of great millstone. Peace and safety to all the sincere Akim that's out here pushing this word in truth in all sincerity. Shalom. All right. And shalom to the sincere sisters as well that may be tuning in. All right. All right. So, as you can see from the title of this lesson or the stream, is it wicked to have multiple wives according to the Bible? And then if you look at the thumbnail, it's a screenshot of the video from the elder. I'm bad with names. I believe it's the elder Karatazal. I know in the Vegas camp, which I was watching. I didn't get a chance to finish, but you know, in the video, he had a clip of this individual that you see on the screen as well, basically saying that you don't see nothing in the New Testament speaking on multiple wives, and that's all blase, saying that basically you're wrong for pushing it, believing it, having it, however you want to look at it, you know. And definitely go back and watch the elders video. Lord willingly, I'll drop the link in my description when I'm done. But I just wanted to, spiritually add a few different points, to this subject matter, dealing with the idea against it is basically adding to the scriptures and taking away from the scriptures. What cuts that is Psalms, the 40th chapter, the book of Hebrews, which Apostle Paul was quoting. It says, "For lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me." All right, John 1:1, the word of God. Yahushua is literally the manifestation. All right, he embodies the word. So if the word says, going back to, because again, Jay get tripped up, and this is just the spirit of being a scoffer. A lot of our people, when I say Jake, you so-called Negroes, Latinos at this point, not to, receive it. And I'm not saying being simple either, but in the spirit of meekness, they don't find a way to be combative, be debatable. No, I don't believe in that. And then they want to tie you into a long, drawn out debate of thoughts, because that's what it's time period. You didn't have all of this, because the way of the old school, starting with our apostles and elders, going back to the days of One West, this really the internet on the high. So if he was so anti that, it would have been spoken on, and you can't find anywhere, even in the New Testament, where he speaks against it. Now, let's deal with balance here. This should be a given, but a lot of people are maybe new to this. They aren't very sharp when it comes to the scriptures. But you have to understand that when you're reading a lot of the epistles in the New Testament, this is the writing. The elder in my camp was one of the first people that kind of gave insight on this in the class. Is Yahushua the the Levitical priesthood, That was an established thing to go, starting with and read what it is, what a prophet of the Lord is, what a priest of the Lord is. All of these different things started with Yahweh Shai coming on the scene and then giving up his life. That's where you get the Revelation, the 5th chapter, about the 7 seals being broken. Yahweh Shai was worthy. He did that so that we could be in the spirit of where we are today. See, we're not in an ancient world way of being. So a lot of what the Paul was even given the advice for, when he speaks about if you desire to be a bishop, having one wife, it was in the spirit. It was advice to the men of old, right? He was giving advice. Those epistles were spiritual conversations between Apostle Paul and the men that were set up in those churches in Corinth, Ephesus, Philemon, etc., etc., etc. Okay, but that advice was spiritual advice that really is more so for us today. So it's just advice, and it's strong, sound advice in the spirit. Let me make that clear, because some people be like, well, it's advice. Sure, yeah, you can do whatever you want. That's why I said for the balance scape, because see, there's a kicker, right? We here at Great Millstone, I can't speak on any other camps, but I know for a fact, here at Great Millstone, we know as a culture thing, as a right from the Lord, that it's a right, literally, the Lord gave men, starting with the Israelite men, to have multiple wives. But we're in a time where this ain't the time to be doing that. That's why the scriptures say, though it be lawful, it's not expedient. It's not really wise in these times to do that, because we have a job at hand. We have a ministry at hand to tend to, right? As Apostle Paul said, he that haveth a wife careth for the things of the world. And if you got a wife, there is no way around that. See, you got a house, you got a family. Instead of maybe spending some time at one moment doing a lesson or reading or anything of that matter, you might got to spend that time putting some shelves together. All right? Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just what happens. So imagine doing that with multiple women, having 2-3 women that you got to tend to. That's going to take your time and your energy and efforts, and have that you putting it in places that you may not, this may not be the wisest time for you to be doing that. And then look at the grand scheme of the world. Look at the landscape of the world as we speak right now. It's hard enough to find. You're blessed if you find one woman after your heart, let alone 2-3 at this time. It's about being in the season of where the Lord got us. But I just wanted to throw that out there in the sake of balance, right? But dealing with, back to the subject matter of multiple wives. You got two sides of this coin where you got people that have an issue with it, in my opinion. Right? You got I'm going to say his name. A lot of people may not know who this is. You got the Malak Shar effect. You got a lot of Jake that are just so up they woman's ass that the idea of, see, and that's a young man's mind frame. When we were all young, 15, 16, you had your first little girlfriend or whatever, just speaking from a young man's game, you just love her ass, You're like, I'll never cheat on her, because you never want to experience that feeling yourself. That's what you're programmed in this world, right? So when you, that's the one side. You're just, you have like you kind of idolize women in that regard, right? Then there's the other side that still idolizes women, but it coming from a different. A lot of men get offended in the word of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. I think we back. I see the timer running. Okay, Salakia. All right, so I'm gonna hit a few scriptures as the spirit comes. Not gonna make this too long, but like I said, a lot of men deal with the word, especially when they come from the world, and you're coming into the understanding of the truth. Your emotions can get in the way of that, and it can Basically calls you to go off, because you're now going to tear out things that don't make you feel right and put things in that make you feel good. Matter of fact, let's get something on that. All right. Let's go to Isaiah 30 and 8 and 9 real quick. And it says that this, I start at 8. Isaiah 30 and 8, and it says, now go write it before them in a table and note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever, that this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of the Lord. And there's laws within the scriptures that say, if a man has a wife and he hates one of them, how he's supposed to even handle that situation. So the narrative, even that scripture, therefore proves that having multiple wives is actually part of the culture of being an Israelite, and above all, it's really the culture of being a man on the planet Earth. See, all these other nations are involved in polygyny, right? Because see, polygamy is just basically an offshoot of a polyamorous situation. Polygyny is when a man has multiple wives, and that's the culture of the world. That's how you be fruitful and multiply. Okay, one man having one wife over 10 years can only bring maybe a minimum of 10 children a child a year, right? Versus a man with 10 wives over 10 years could bring in 100 children. That's a different level of multiplication of instead of numbers increasing sequentially, you're increasing that number exponentially. That's multiplying. Okay, so it says, which say to the seers, see not, and unto the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things. And a lot of these, Jake, like I say, they get offended. Even the men. See, because a lot of men have been they've been beat down by always or whipped into shape by the society through feminism to always check the temperature on how it feels to a woman. So a lot of men won't accept certain things if it don't feel right to women. A lot of men live their life always checking the temperature of women, whether it be their woman, their mother, their sisters, women around them in general. You're always worried if they like you or dislike you, or if they agree with what you say or disagree, because you don't want to offend. Okay, so that's that prophesy unto us right things and speak unto us smooth things. Prophesy deceit. See, it would be deceitful for me to just get on here knowing what the scriptures say about a man having multiple wives and dealing with that subject matter, but to appease the sisters, well, no, really, a man should only really have. That's what the IUIC does. That's why there's a lot of women over there. A lot of women are over in that congregation because they are prophesying deceit, and this is one of those things. Okay, to teach that that men can't have multiple wives is very deceitful and wrong. Matter of fact, and that's why the Apostle Paul. Let me see if I can find it. If not, I'll quote it. But that's why the Apostle Paul was giving out, and in most of these cases, it's advice, right? Let me see if I can find this real quick. Let's see, that is yep, the Wadi Habashim Yahushua. Perfect. This is 1 Timothy 4:1, and it says, now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisies, having their conscience seared with a hot iron. And right, like a Jake like this, he's not trying to hear the right thing. He's heard the right thing, and he's trying to figure out how he can make it fit for his heart, that itching ear, right? So it's when this lesson is not to change said his ways or his mind. This is just putting the spirit out there, tearing down that stronghold of monogamy in the world. Okay, like I said, all the brothers that I only know maybe I don't even know a handful of brothers that's, to be real with you, that have multiple wives in that regard. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I got two wives and they know each other. That ain't really going down like that. You know what I'm saying? But how is it that's why this is a matter of a thing of doctrine. Okay? Me personally, I get why the Apostle Paul spoke heavily about being of one, being a husband of one wife. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said, to be real with you, I get that it's advice, but I look at it like it's really prophecy, because when you, in the times that we're in right now, what makes you think that there's just a shit ton of women out here that you could just, like, there's a lot that goes into that. All right. A lot of Israelites, they like to play with fire in that. And then next thing you know, you got 3, 4, 5 women ganged up on you, and you ain't got shit you could do about it except take that L. All right. Go watch that show Sister Wives on TLC. And men be losing. Them women be feeling, they women don't be liking what's going on. They basically kick his ass to the curb and take all the shit, and the men don't got no power. The scriptures say that the Lord created a new thing, that women shall compass that of a man. You got to remember, all of these elements are working against you. You're not just going to be Prince Hakeem stomping through the fucking earth and just got women submitting to you, man. That's not reality, man. That's a fantasy that's within your head that gets a lot of men in trouble. That's why I said, for balance sake. But again, we're going to read to this point why I'm saying why it was advice, and why I'm saying what I'm saying in the spirit as well. It says, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidding to marry, and commanding to abstain from meats, which Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai have created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know of the truth. So I, as a man of doing this work, I can say, hey, really, brother, it's not the wise according to the scriptures for you to so-called have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wives, right? But I can't tell you, brother, you going off for having a second wife, or brother, you going off for having a third wife. I can't say that according to the scriptures. That's why it's advice. The Lord never told us not to do it. But as a man of leadership and understanding of what's going on, having experience, older men will tell you it's not like apostles and the elders. They push out the vibration. They tell us this is what it is to deal with these women, and we grow and we see, like, damn, it was right. Yeah, I ain't really doing this shit. Fuck that shit. You come up on a level. A lot of Jake that are obsessed with this subject matter are still stuck on the honey. All right. They haven't really ingested the true bitterness of, man, these women ain't shit. Not all of them, but the majority. And that most of these women are really an enemy onto us. But you don't want to accept that part. So you live in the fantasy of, you know, where your mind goes when you think about women, because you're in such a drought dealing with this world and women that you over fantasize it. You make it more than what it really is. You don't deal with the reality. Okay. So, I want to finish my point, and I'm probably going to close up here. The point I wanted to say, dealing with this thing of marriage and multiple wives, is going back to the story of Laban, Jacob, and Leah and Rachel. That was a great example of why cultures had multiple wives. And it took me years to learn this in the spirit, you know, by research, studying this subject matter, right? Having multiple wives has everything more so to do with the women than it does the man. Okay? When you go back, me and a brother in my camp, shout out to you, Kashikwala, we were talking about this at camp a while back, and we always put the point out of Jacob. Jacob only wanted one woman. I get him mistaken. Forgive me. I think he wanted Rachel, right? I get him mistaken. Crisscrossed. He only wanted one woman. But the spirit had it where he had to work double to get that woman, and he ended up with 2 women. And then what came with those 2 women? 2 more handmaids. So technically speaking, for the sake of being right, he had 2 wives and 2 handmaids. But really, he wanted to leave out of there with just the one woman. You see what I'm saying? All of that came in the name of having a woman or wanting a. You get what I'm trying to say? Most men have always understood the responsibility that comes with having a woman, let alone multiple women. It's never been a fight to push the narrative on men to understand these things. Every man on the planet Earth, even going back to the ancient world, wasn't walking around here with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 100 wives. That's not what was going on. They understood greatly the responsibility of having to take care of all of this, right? So whose better interest is it for a man to have multiple wives? The one answer would be a woman, women as a whole. See, the duty of it all is to make sure that every woman has a husband. There are more women than there are men. So if there are 200 men, right, and there are 600 wives, if every man exercised monogamy, that means you would have 400 women of marriageable age left to dead, left for dry. And what is that going to lead to? Right? That's going to lead to women in their natural space seeking after a man, which that could be of the heathen nations, which that's off according to the scriptures. So if our nation has more women than men, and the scriptures speak about basically a woman being under the cover of her man, what is that? Where does that leave the other women? Out, just fuck them, forget about them? No, that's the premise of polygyny, having multiple wives. It's more of an act of protecting our women. The scriptures, women talk about all this, protect black women. Well, that was something that the Lord set up to protect your black asses. That's just the truth. But that makes you uncomfortable. So now you got to lean on all of these other elements to find a level of comfort or protection or security or maintenance or whatever you need as a woman. You got to go over here, got to go over there, all in the name of trading, having one man. Now you got to call on 8, 9, 10 niggas to get the job done. You need a man to protect. You got to call a man from the police. You need somebody to work on your car. You probably could have a man that knows a little bit about cars, but instead now you need a man that works at a mechanic shop, et cetera, et cetera. You see what I'm saying? So again, understand, and I'm gonna close up here. That's where that spirit of it's not mostly about you and your lust desires. It's an act of service, really, through the spirit of protecting the women of our nation. Okay? There's more women than there are men. Simple math. What happens with the other 400 women if there are 200 men and they all only have one wife? What are you going to do? Being gay is not an option. All right? According to the Bible. Dealing with the other nation men is not an option. So what are you going to do? You're going to deal with the scriptures. Dealing with your father is not an option. Dealing with your brother is not an option. I'm just throwing out all of these angles where you could try. You get what I'm trying to say? So what does that mean? That means the answer is having multiple wives as a husband. It's not about laying around and having grapes and being glorified, man. All right? You got to feed them. You got to protect them. You got to send up their sacrifices. All right, you got to provide all of those things. So it's really a lot that goes into it, but in the spirit of it, it's all in the name of protecting. So this energy of the Lord is against it is actually madness and is against the scriptures. Okay. Hey, so with that, I want to give all the glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. A double honors unto my apostles and elders, a great millstone. Peace and safety to all the sincere Akim Nasai pushing this word of truth and in all sincerity. Shalom. And shalom to the sincere sisters as well.